We have some pretty interesting changes coming to Overwatch Season 3, but honestly, I think a lot of them are a bit misguided. On Twitter, Jared Noose, who is the executive producer at Overwatch, said that we have some updates coming in Season 3 that we'll be talking about soon to help address the lack of choice and rewards. I'll keep it vague for now. So obviously, a big point of contention with Overwatch 2 in the past few months has been the sort of greedy battle pass system, where you are required to either pay a lot of money or put in an unreal amount of time, essentially having a second job in order to unlock some of the skins. To make matters even worse, the challenges are pretty repetitive in nature. So naturally, because of these two things, a lot of people are complaining that the battle pass system is horrible, and a lot of people are missing the old loot box system, which was very simple but very effective. So at the very least, Blizzard is trying to actively address one major issue that the game's been having, one major point of contention among the audience. However, I really think that there are other more important things that need to be taken care of and need to be talked about right now. If you follow any Overwatch content at all, you will know what I'm about to talk about, and that is the horrible ranked system. I'm going to go out on a limb and make a pretty bold claim right now. I think that out of every game that has taken their esports scene seriously and hasn't just sort of added ranked as a, afterthought, I think that Overwatch has the worst ranked system ever, by far. It feels extremely unrewarding. The 7-game win or 20 loss promotion system feels extremely confusing to newer players because there's no consistent update on what your SR is as you go, and instead it's sort of done in chunks in these promotion systems. And because the matchmaker is notoriously bad at pairing up teams of even skill as far as people who are close in rank go, it is extremely difficult to see how you're progressing, and you can get into a situation where you lose 4 games, 5 games, and then you go on a 7-game winning streak, and at the end of the 7 games you think, okay, I'm about to rank up, I've been rolling, I've been owning in these games, and then guess what? You go nowhere. And from an outside perspective, you might think, well, yeah, that makes sense. They went 7-5. That's pretty much even. But when you're in the moment, or if you don't play every single day, you're going to end up forgetting about the losses if you're just hitting a massive win streak. And like I said, the matchmaker is really bad about pairing people up of equal skill levels. So you end up thinking, okay, maybe I can see, what kind of rank I'm playing in, go check a few profiles. And you do that, and you end up with a teammate who's GM and a teammate who's plat, and you're confused. And it's even worse because you don't know where in their promotions they are. So you might have a diamond who's hit a 6-game win streak this promotion, and they're playing in Masters, and people look at it and they're like, oh, why do I have a diamond on my team? Or, same goes for silver to plat. And we still don't even have a system to see how many wins we are away from getting a promotion or from getting a rank change. There's nowhere in the menu you can go. You have to play and finish a game to see that particular graphic. Who thought that that was not pertinent to the game? But even with all of that in mind, I don't think that the technical problems with the matchmaker are what's going to end up killing Overwatch. I think that we have a real serious game balance problem right now. Every single game feels like a role for one team or the other, and it's because tank is so strong. Because tank is by far right now the most impactful role, and it's not even a close competition, there is no room for error. Back in Overwatch 1, you had 2 tanks, which sort of made the playing field more likely to be even, because even if one tank was really bad, it's possible the other tank was good enough to bring that tank up. And even if they were both bad, at least you had 2 really high health heroes that had a variety of cooldowns they could use to make the game feel a little bit more fluid and make it feel like you can actually walk in with your team. However, now you have one tank, and most of the tanks do more damage, have more impact, have more health, have more self-sustain. They've basically just moved both tanks into one, and now you're in this situation where if the other tank is even 5% better than your tank, it feels like it's an insane tank gap every single time. Because tank dictates the flow of the game, you get into a situation where your tank is not creating enough space for your DPSs, who then have less angles to peek from, less ways to fight the other team, less options available to them. And this puts them in a situation where the other DPSs now have more high grounds, more flank opportunities, perhaps they have better high grounds or access to health packs. In general, it just makes a really bad situation for one side of the DPSs, and that makes a DPS gap now. The best example I can think of is when you're pushing on Eichenwald's second, where there's the big castle and the enemy team is going to be holding up on high ground and the enemy tank is going to be holding the gate. And if your tank is worse than the enemy tank, there's not going to be an easy way to get through the gate to even try to fight the DPSs. You're going to have to find a way to fight the enemy tank while being shot at from a high ground where the enemy supports are super safe. Same with the enemy DPSs. There's no way to really easily flank them on that map. And what's likely going to happen is everyone is just going to get frustrated and assume that each other are the problem. And then you're going to get tilted and then your team's going to start flaming each other. It happens every single game. And now you might be thinking, okay, but that's a specific map. That's just Eichenwald second. But no, this is the sort of way that Overwatch is balanced. The defense always always has a really strong position, the attackers always have a spawn advantage. And that is going to be the case on every single map where the attackers and defenders switch sides. So payload or hybrid, those kinds of maps, they are always going to be that way until the last point of the map. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to make it to GM? If your answer was yes, then you absolutely must come and check out the GameLeap website. We have over 140 guides on our site, with more being added weekly. These range from general tips and role-based courses and go all the way into step-by-step guides for every meta hero. If you're ready to elevate your game, go to GameLeap.com or follow the link in the description below and get your membership today. So tanks being broken is already a big start to the issue at hand, as I mentioned before, as I've explained so far, but there's another issue that's plaguing Overwatch that's also making that problem exacerbated, and that is the sheer power right now of one-shot heroes in Overwatch. So heroes like Widowmaker, like Sojourn, like Roadhog, these heroes that are just able to instantly kill you and you don't have a chance to react, are horrible for Overwatch. One-shots are notorious for only being fun for one person in every single situation. When you die to a soldier, or you have a tracer versus tracer fight, or even a Ramatra, like whatever you play, it's always more fun to fight someone who has to spend time killing you and you can trade damage with them than it is to sort of walk around a corner and just get instantly one-shot and have to wait for your respawn. I don't know about you, but when I have a fight with someone on Cassidy or Soldier or, Tracer or those kinds of heroes that are more gradual but still strong, I feel more engaged when they kill me than when I get killed by Hanzo, who just sends an arrow down a choke at head level. So the reason this is important is because, as I've mentioned before, one tank being better just means that they can end up holding a ton of space. They can end up just sort of locking down a choke, locking down options for an enemy DPS. So that pretty much means a lot of your job is going to now be trying to force the enemy tank out who's better than your tank on the DPS and support roles, and Kiriko has made that extremely difficult because now you have to deal with another cooldown which adds invulnerability to a character that also cleanses them of all negative effects like anti-grenade or multiple stuns. And if that's not bad enough, she does a ton of healing, so it's not like she's, sacrificing Ana heals or some kind of main healer to get that ability. She can main heal on her own. So you have to be pressuring out the enemy tank, who's going to be getting heals absolutely pumped into them, as well as invincibility from Kiriko, and you're going to have to deal with one-shots the entire time. Whether it's from a tank that wants to one-shot you because he sees that you're focusing his DPSs, or a DPS that wants to one-shot you because he sees that you're focusing his tank, you're kind of in a situation where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So this all ends up coalescing into what ultimately decides every single game, and that's who has the better tank. Because if you aren't in the situation where you need to be able to completely focus the enemy tank to get any sort of space to do anything, then you are going to have a much better experience. You're going to have a more impactful game, you're going to feel like there's actually a way for you to play and outplay enemies, and you're going to feel great. However, I don't think there are enough good tank players to make this a consistent thing that we can balance for, because you're always going to end up having the off-rolling Masters DPS who wants to play Zarya for a game against the hard Roadhog one-trick who's actually insane and very meta right now. And as if that's not bad enough, Blizzard is completely sitting on their hands as far as balance goes. Roadhog has been a problem for months now, and we haven't seen any nerfs to him at all. They said we're supposed to be getting one this month, but it's already the 17th as of recording this, and there's still nothing. All we even really know is that they're trying to remove his one-shot. That's it. For all we know, they could be buffing him some other way like they did with Sojourn, who, by the way, has been a problem since the beginning of the game, since the betas of the game even, and they aren't even looking at her, it feels like. For a development team that has had notoriously bad community health and very little trust from the player base going into Overwatch 2, Blizzard's not really doing anything to make the players trust them more or make it feel like we're not just going to get more of the same except somehow worse. And it's all really unfortunate because when Overwatch 2 first came out, it felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like it was going to be something truly different, like we were headed towards a new era for the game. There were minor problems at the start, Sojourn was an issue, the battle pass is an issue, Zarya at the time was really strong and felt oppressive, but honestly, they could have fixed all of those problems pretty quickly. Maybe not the battle pass, but that's not even something that I think is really super vital to the game's health long term. It's greedy, sure, but I think that if the game is good, people will kind of just look past it. I mean, it's not the first battle pass ever. Yeah, skins are overpriced, but honestly, it's not that bad. But when we're expected to pay consistently for a broken product, that is what makes it way worse. And the worst part is, in my opinion, they are really focused on adding more heroes in before fixing ones that are already in the game and problematic. We added Ramatra, who is absolutely a stupid addition to the game. He needs some nerfs. He needs to not be able to sit in his ultimate forever and just AFK on the cart while holding right click and reducing 75% of incoming damage. But we haven't even gotten Roadhog to be in a good state yet. We've already added another character who's already an issue, and we haven't even gotten to the point where he's like the hard meta yet. I worry about the long-term prospects of the balancing team with the inconsistency and the willingness to add more heroes in while there are other heroes who are plaguing the game and just aren't in a good state already. In any case, guys, that is going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe for more educational news content coming from this channel, and I will see you all again very soon. Take care and peace. And check out our website. I'm telling you, it has some amazing content up there, so go and take a look. In the meantime, though, guys, this has been Highway. It's always great speaking with you. I will see you all again very soon. Take care and peace.